Hi, just showing a quick overview of the Hubs Blender exporter. You can download it here. I'll post the link into the comments on the YouTube channel. So basically just go here onto the code button and download a zip file, and it tells you down here in the instructions how to install it into Blender. So once you have that plugin installed and you open up Blender, you should be seeing that here in your object properties, you suddenly have a little hubs file, and you can start editing things here. So I'm just going to make a new scene to make sure we don't have anything, any leftover things. Yeah, so it should be here into object properties, hubs, and then you can add components. So I'll actually leave the cube in here and then also add a porous into the scene. Maybe make it a little bit more high resolution, so we don't have any jagged edges, and also scale it up a little bit because I want to show you how to use the UV scroll on here in a kind of smooth way. So first thing I want to do is make sure that the torus is actually looking smooth. So I just select all the faces, all the polygons in edit mode here, right click, and then say shade smooth. And now I want to apply a texture to these two objects, so I can test the hubs kind of scrolling component on them. So I just go to my shading panel here and create a new texture right here that appears, and then also add an image file by saying add texture and image texture here, and connect that. And obviously there's no texture on it yet, so I just go open and then open up a water texture that I saved earlier, and I want to assign the same material here, so let's call it water texture, to both of my objects. But it looks kind of weird on the donut, so I want to go into my UVs and kind of here I can see the UVs spread out. I'm going to do it to select all these UVs and scale them up a little bit. And I want to see what's happening here, so I'm going to just turn the preview here on. Looks better, but kind of like maybe too flat, so I'm selecting those again and just scaling them down. I made it a little smaller. Yeah, something like that looks pretty good. All right. So now I have a texture on both of these objects that looks kind of appropriate. Maybe the UV, this one is a little bit too small, so let's just one more time. That looks better now. And now I can go in, select these two objects in object properties, open the Hubs tab, add component, and then here choose UV scroll. And by default set to 0, so I want to set a certain speed at which these things are rotating. I'm doing 0.1. And I want to make sure that there is assigned to both components, so I have to do it separately for each one here as well. Now when I click on them, I can actually see the UV scroll component down here. So now I can just go ahead and export these as a GLBF file. Just will do it here, and this is my second attempt. Here's extensions, so you'll make sure this is selected, exported. Now you want to open up a new file, new empty project. Generic one is totally fine. And then we can drag and drop our donut in there. So here is my second UV scroll. This is kind of loading slowly. So let's just try with this one. Maybe it's going to go faster. No, Okay, let's try to reload. Hubs, projects. Okay, here we have the empty scene, and I'm just drag and dropping my donut in here. Here it is. Looks just as usual. Nothing really remarkable about it. And I'll just publish to Hubs and see if the UV scroll has actually worked. So unfortunately in Spoke there's no preview for it, which, you know, you kind of have to go through this two-step process to see if it's actually working. All right. Enter a room, and here it is. So now you can see the texture scroll on both objects, right? And you see the difference as well. So on the cube, it's kind of like flowing down along on all sides. And on the donut, it actually almost looks like an infinite rotation because it's actually scrolling kind of like along the length of the donut. So you can experiment with different types of, you know, meshes and shapes and ways of flow, but this is the basic process of how to use this kind of custom plugin to really create this very space-saving textures, which is obviously much smaller file than if you would have animations in there. And that's it.